It started on a late summer afternoon in Austin, Texas, when life felt like it had collapsed in on itself. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and for years I had lived in what I thought was a perfectly ordinary life with my husband, David, and our daughter, Emily. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. David worked in construction, and I balanced two part-time jobs while looking after Emily, who was 10 at the time. But life has a cruel way of tearing down the walls you thought were sturdy. One morning, David left for work like always, kissed me goodbye, and promised he'd be back in time for dinner. He never made it. A scaffolding collapse at his site stole him from us instantly. The weeks that followed were a blur of casseroles left at the door, hushed condolences from neighbors, and endless paperwork. But then the noise faded, and what remained was silence, the kind that presses against your chest until it's hard to breathe. I thought I could manage. I told myself I had to for Emily. But bills piled up. The roof leaked after a storm, the car broke down, and suddenly, survival became a math equation I could never solve. Nights turned into tears I tried to hide, mornings into forced smiles for my daughter. That's when Michael, David's closest friend, came back into our lives in a way I hadn't expected. Michael had been like family long before tragedy struck. He was at every barbecue, every birthday party. He was the guy who showed up to help David fix the deck or change the oil in the car. After the funeral, he disappeared for a while, grieving in his own way, I suppose. But one evening, as I struggled to haul groceries up the porch steps with Emily tugging at my side, he appeared again. "Need a hand?" he asked softly, his voice carrying both warmth and sorrow. I wanted to say no. I wanted to prove I could handle everything. But the truth was, I couldn't. Not alone. So I nodded. "Yes, please." And that was the beginning. Michael started small. Fixing the leaky faucet. Mowing the lawn. Helping Emily with her math homework when I was too exhausted to think straight. He never made it feel like charity. He made it feel like teamwork. At first, I resisted. Not because I didn't appreciate him, but because accepting help felt like admitting weakness. Still, he persisted with quiet kindness. One night, I found Emily curled up on the couch beside him, laughing as he drew silly cartoons to explain fractions. Her laughter was pure, unburdened, the kind I hadn't heard since before David died. My throat tightened. Later, as I tucked her into bed, she whispered, "Mom, when Michael's here, it feels almost like Dad is too." Her words broke me, and healed me, all at once. As weeks turned to months, Michael's presence became something I no longer tried to push away. He became part of our rhythm. Saturday mornings meant coffee on the porch while Emily rode her bike in the driveway. Evenings meant shared dinners, sometimes simple pasta, sometimes elaborate meals he insisted on cooking. But it wasn't just the help. It was the way he saw us. One stormy night, the power went out. Emily was terrified of the thunder, trembling as she clung to me. Michael lit candles, told stories in his animated way, and soon had her giggling under a blanket fort. When she finally fell asleep, I looked at him across the flickering candlelight. "I don't know what we'd do without you," I whispered. He held my gaze, his expression unreadable, then said, "You don't have to know. You'll never have to find out." Something unspoken passed between us. Something I was almost afraid to name. The turning point came when I got the notice. Our house, the only place Emily had ever known, was on the brink of foreclosure. I sat at the kitchen table, head in my hands, drowning in shame. Michael walked in, took one look at me, and pulled up a chair. "What's wrong?" I pushed the letter toward him. "We're going to lose everything." He read it silently, then leaned back, jaw tight. "No, you're not." "Michael, I can't." "Sarah," he interrupted gently, "let me help." Tears filled my eyes. "I can't keep taking from you." He reached across the table, covering my hand with his. "You're not taking. You're letting me do what David would have wanted. He was my best friend. He'd want me to look after his family. And I want to. Not out of pity. Out of love." The word hung between us. Love. I felt my heart race. Not the love that replaced David, but the kind that built something new out of ashes. The kind that didn't erase the past but honored it by carrying us forward. From then on, everything shifted. Michael moved in, not as a replacement, but as an anchor. For Emily, He became a mentor, a father figure, a source of laughter and safety. For me, he became the reminder that life, though cruel, also gives second chances. We resisted at first. Resisted leaning too heavily. Resisted acknowledging what was growing between us. But love doesn't always come when it's convenient. It comes when you need it most. And in time we stopped resisting. 2 years later, standing in the backyard under strings of warm lights, I watched as Emily, now 12, ran circles around Michael, shrieking with laughter as he chased her. The sound filled the air like music. When she finally collapsed into the grass, breathless, Michael walked over to me, his eyes soft. "You see that? That's why I'm here. That's why I'll never leave." I smiled, tears slipping down my cheeks. "We couldn't resist you, Michael. Not when you gave us back hope." He pulled me close, and for the first time in years, I felt whole. Not because the pain had vanished, it never truly would, but because love had found its way back into our lives, in the most unexpected form. Looking back now, I realize the truth. Sometimes when life shatters, help comes in a form you least expect. And sometimes when someone wants to help you, the bravest thing you can do is let them. Michael wanted to help us. And in the end, we couldn't resist, because what he gave wasn't just help. It was family. It was love. It was everything we thought we had lost, returned in a new and beautiful way.